That makes it even more important to us as to how you could break away and be with us today. You were the right guy. Our next guest and speaker is our former commanding officer, Arliss J. Simmons, Commander United States Navy, retired.
I want to thank the committee for inviting me in the first place. I really consider this an honor and a privilege to join you here, and I hope that I have a few comments that would be of interest to you, because I really appreciate this opportunity to join you. And I want to congratulate and thank the committee for taking on an impossible task in the first place. Just imagine the difficulty of trying to find all you people and a lot of other people that couldn't come. You know, it was just an impossible task, and they took it. It was like Mission Impossible. And they did it with glory and success. And we certainly appreciate all the effort that they did to bring us all together today. Have you ever paused to think why the prep school in the first place? It's a good question. And I've never seen this in writing, but in fact, it boils down to the number of appointments that the Secretary of the Navy has to appoint enlisted men from the Navy and the Marine Corps to the Naval Academy. So our real function, unless it's been changed since I checked last, the Secretary of the Navy has 75 appointments every year to the Academy. And so in order to fill those appointments, they needed some kind of a screening organization to screen the applicants and then give them academic and physical and military training to prepare them to be successful at the Naval Academy and be a chief corps of the incoming class every year. And that's what it's all about. But it goes back to the number of appointments that the Secretary of the Navy has to select strictly enlisted men from the Navy and Marine Corps to the Academy. 75 every year. Now, in March of '66, before any of us arrived here, Admiral Kaufman, who was Superintendent of the Naval Academy, visited the prep school to see what might be done to make the prep school a little bit more effective. And he made several recommendations. Your class benefited from some of them, but not a whole lot because it took longer to implement them. Now, before coming to the prep school, in my case, I was serving on the staff in Honolulu. I had 6 months remaining on my tour of duty, and I just spoken to my detailer to what kind of a tour that I had lined up when I got ordered out of Honolulu. And he outlined a program that I was very pleased with. So everything was fine. But about a week later, about 7 o'clock in the morning, I got a call from the duty yeoman says, your detailer is trying to get in touch with you. And of course, the Vietnam War was going on crazy. And I thought, uh-oh, Vietnam, here I come. And so finally, I got in touch with the detailer, and it was Commander Peck, and his assistant answered the phone, and he says, we're issuing you orders today, and you have to leave Honolulu in 10 days to become officer in charge of the prep school. I said, listen, I don't know anything about that prep school. And I didn't go there. And you should send somebody else. Besides, I have 6 more months here in Honolulu. Commander Peck was listening in. He said, Mr. Simmons, he said, we selected the records of 5 commanders and you. I was lieutenant commander at the time. And he said, we gave those 6 records to the Chief of Navy Personnel, and he decided you're the one. He said, you don't have anybody else to appeal to, so pack your bag. Aye, aye, sir. We had a house, 2 cars, and 2 surfboards to sell. And this was Thursday. We put everything in the paper for sale, and by Sunday night, we had sold 2 cars and 2 surfboards. But we still had a house to sell. So I called the housing office, and I said, I have a house to sell in 5 days. How many officers do you have on the waiting list for government quarters? He said, well, we have 23. I said, could I have the list of their names and phone numbers? So I got the list and started dialing. And believe it or not, at that time, $15,000 was the maximum loan you could get to buy a house in Hawaii. $15,000. And so, for the price I had set, it would take $8,700 to buy me out. And then I had to increase that price in case I had to take a second trust. Fortunately, I had a suitable FHA mortgage. And so, by the end of the day Monday, I had 6 couples come out and look at the house. And a Lieutenant Commander Supply Corps said, we'll buy your house. And I said, okay, which price do you want? He said, we'll just buy you out. And that was a blessing. I said, all right, settlement will be on Thursday, and we'll vacate on Saturday. So he gave me a check. We shook hands on the agreement, and by Saturday, everything was gone, and we headed for Bainbridge. And so, anyway, shortly after I arrived here, I got a call from the office of the Admiral in Washington that was in charge of all Navy education. And he said he wanted me to come up there to his office for a briefing. So I did. And basically he said that the Navy was disappointed in the results of the prep school for a long time. And that I had been selected to come here to see what I could do. And that I had pretty much of a free hand, but the one thing that he expected of me was results. Of course, I couldn't ask for a better charter, because that was my personality. And so I became officer in charge on the 21st of September, '66. And of course, you were all in class, and the classes had already started. So the first thing is to try to know the organization, and before trying to make any changes. So one, I found a very highly selected student body, that after a high selection, you had high motivation to achieve one objective, go to the Naval Academy. That was just outstanding. And based all the good things that have happened to me in my life, I received a great deal of satisfaction of helping anyone take the next step toward their success. So working with your class gave me tremendous satisfaction, because anything that I could do to help you achieve your goal gave me a lot of personal satisfaction. And so then I looked at the staff, and I found that the staff, in my judgment, we had an outstanding staff. And so I was really appreciative of the staff, thank you, of the staff. And so from my point of view, there was certainly no improvement needed in the student body and the staff. I was blessed with 2 great organizations there. And so then I started looking to see what we needed for improvement to the school. And your class had 198 students when I arrived. And it was the smallest class in numbers that existed since 1958. And I looked, and there had been a decrease in enrollment that averaged 38 per year since 1958. And if that decrease continued, there wouldn't be any justification for the school after 2 or 3 more years. And so my first job was to recruit a number of increased students for the next year. Now the prep school wasn't tasked to recruit, but since we had first-hand knowledge, I felt we were in the best position to do that. And so, but in order to recruit, we had to make sure that we were offering the best program that we could. So we looked at what we were offering as a class. I looked at enrollments, and I found that the bottom part, people that came in the bottom group of the entrance exam to NAPS, virtually none of them got appointments and succeeded to go into the academy. So we made a decision right then to increase the entrance requirements to NAPS by 25%. That would give everybody that came here a better chance of going on to succeed. Then we looked at our academic program. And basically, everybody took the same course at the same speed. And they had a science club and a math club to give motivation to students that had higher abilities in those subjects. But working with Bob Antonio, who is here, he was assistant academic director and a major player in revamping the academic program. So we decided that starting with the following year, it was too late to implement it for your class because you were already in class and you were going and it would disrupt your whole class if we tried to make changes. So we decided to have 2 tracks in English and science and 3 tracks in mathematics. And then the scope of course would include remedial high school and college freshmen. And then we arranged with the Naval Academy to give credit to our students that took the advanced courses. With that concept in mind, then with the 3 critical needs, recruiting, increase the entry level, and revamp the academic program, this would make the prep school somewhat of an ideal situation. So then we could start recruiting. I asked BUPERS for $2,500 to send teams around the country telling them about the prep school. Well, that wasn't in the budget. But they gave us $1,500. And that wasn't enough. So I arranged with some of my buddies in Naval Air to set up some training flights to take us where we wanted to go and come back. And in my case, I went down to Andrews Air Force Base, checked out at T-28, and the places that I was supposed to go, I flew. And so we had 5 teams organized to help recruit. And so we ended up talking to about 4,400 enlisted men and 900 officers and career counselors in that whole effort. Then we looked, and at the time, the coaches at the Naval Academy could send 25 people, nominate 25 people to enlist in the reserves for the express purpose of coming here. So I decided that would be a good source of recruits too. So Perkins and I, he was the coach here, we went down to the Naval Academy and talked to the coaches and invited them to come up here and visit us, look at our facilities and see what we had to offer. And so they did. All the coaches from the Naval Academy came in 2 different groups. And we made presentation. And instead of 25, they sent us 64 the next year for the next class. And so, that kind of concluded our recruiting effort. And then we took a look at the things that Admiral Kaufman had recommended that would benefit your class. And so one of the things Admiral Kaufman recommended that you